go down because they have no other
I mean, you
sources
can't
of
go into
going
the
in.
fountain anymore, so there's a little bit of a change.
Thank God. Looking forward though, gentlemen, phase number 2. Nouns has banned out the Crystal Maiden, the Silencer, Bait removed, the Lone Druid, no Viper, and no Batrider. And Timbersaw, that's a fairly early Timbersaw. Well,
Moo Timbersaw.
Moo Timber, yeah, we're just getting all the classics.
It's been so long, yeah. I mean, if this is a carry Pudge, that's not a very fun lane for you. And Moo is, he used to be really good on this hero. I assume he probably still is. It's probably like a muscle memory to play Timbersaw for him, just as, you know, Dendy's Pudge is probably muscle memory too. But unfortunately for Dendy here, he is against his worst opponent, Timbersaw Specialist, so unlucky, I guess.
Well, a day of first here, gentlemen. Grimstroke now being picked up. It's not just the first time Grimstroke has been picked in NA, first time in the entire DPC run that this hero has emerged. What are the reasons do you all think that this hero, generally speaking, tends to get ignored? And what are the prospects, or what does it do in this game that justifies its inclusion?
I mean, the hero is just pretty bad overall. That's why we don't see it to answer the first part of the question. The reason why it's good this game, Timbersaw, when he throws his Chakram out, you throw the Silence. You can't hit the Bug or the Ghost, whatever you want to call it. So it's very annoying for Timber to play against this hero. With Pudge and lane, a lot of kill threat. The main reason why you don't see this hero is Pos 5. There's no sustain. There's no harass. It's all about get the kill in the lane. And as a carry, you don't want to go for kills. You just want to hit creeps, right? You want to farm. But this guy makes you go in all the time. He's like, go kill, go kill, go kill, because his tool set isn't good otherwise.
Yeah, and that's also a Lowdown classic. I've seen a fair amount of his Grimstroke last year in DPC. Very capable. And that was actually when they played Luna more of the time. So that would make sense because of the buffed Aghanims making a lot of benefit from the... it actually has a BKB buff on the enemy carry, which you usually use it on, and you get a lot of damage from it. Sadly, Luna isn't in the meta right now, and Nouns...
I mean, what meta are we even playing right now?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is pub meta in a way that we're bringing out, but I guess pub mentality is something, you know, Bait probably needs a bit of a refreshener here, and this is definitely it.
I mean, both teams, like, I don't like
and
this.
Maybe Nouns as well, too.
Yeah, I mean, we got a Storm Spirit, we got a Timbersaw, you know, Pudge came out, Grimstroke's here. We've seen a little bit of Bloodseeker. It's not too far out of the meta, but those four heroes, they're definitely not in the meta. That's all I have to say about that.
So, I see a wombo combo for Bait. Okay, so picture this.
All right,
We're listening.
Grimstroke ulti on 2. We get Rupture out on 2.
Okay.
We get Telekinesis Lift on 2.
Okay.
And Pudge Hook on one of those guys.
Okay.
So I see a lot of
Why
Rupture
not dismember on 2?
So instead of picking Tusk, we're gonna pick 3 heroes that are gonna make this combo work. So yeah. Do you see it working?
I mean, in game number 1, we had some strange interactions, so we might as well end up seeing more of that. Honestly, if that were to happen, it would be hilarious. But at the very least, there is a simple combo. Just Rupture into Hook, at the very least, is already available for you. So there's something. And given how Bloodseeker likes to approach these fights, it's nice to have an Inkswell target. He just runs in, cause chaos, and then Dendy will come and mop up afterwards.
Yeah, like if you look at Pudge, Ag's Blink build up here, and you have Inkswell and the ulti from Grim, basically you can hold targets close to each other, and the AoE rot is 100% going to be hitting both of those targets, because even if they try to split and try to get away, they're going to be taking a lot of AoE damage. So that's a benefit for Bait, having that early damage, but it also comes just through winning lanes once again, like getting that item timing at 13, 14, 15 minutes. I've seen Pudge Ag's rushes at 10 minutes. If he can do it, he's a force to be reckoned with.
The problem, though, Fear, with this kind of strategy is that it requires team cohesion and team communication to make it work, and that has by and large been Bait's primary problem in all of the games that we've seen so far. Can the nature of having these comfort picks overcome the relative lack of chemistry that they've so far demonstrated?
Probably not, to be honest, but I'm interested. I'm still hopeful for this Dendy Pudge. I was hyping it up, but Stonebank's going to be the Bloodseeker for sure, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That means
so we need a Funnick hero.
He could be Pudge. That's possible.
If you're Dendy, you're going to let Funnick take your Pudge?
I don't think Funnick's going to be taking the Pudge.
I don't know. What if Dendy Quap now? Like, you punish the Storm Spirit mid.
If you force out the force movement damage, is Darkseer in the pool?
Darkseer is still in the pool, yeah.
All right, let's go full-on wombo combo. Give me Darkseer.
Give me Darkseer. It's going to be the Pango. Unfortunately, no bigger wombo combo, but you do have some degree of team fight here. A hero that can go in at the very forefront of the fight, start some madness for you. Another Inkswell carrier as well that they have available to them.
It's kind of hard, though. Like, Rolling Thunder, Inkswell is very difficult to pull. If you thought, you know, the other combos are hard, that is by far the hardest and takes most, you know, like, team like cohesion. So if we see it, I'll be impressed, but it's very difficult to pull off, I feel.
Well, Nature's Prophet will come out right now. This should be the Yamsen hero going into the safe lane. I doubt he's going to be building the Aghanim Scepter first, in the same way that Mu did. But, you know, it's a hero that gives them some push, which we were really lacking beforehand. It's a hero that'll do perfectly fine in the laning phase against this Pangolier. The question is, Panda, do you like it? When you see this Yamsen Nature's Prophet, does it fit into the idea of what your Nouns are trying to do, and does it help them to win game number 2?
At least if this game scales very far, that leash is basically a Pango counter. You can't move anywhere but the Rolling Thunder. Even if he's already on the move and you sprout on top of him, the guy's stuck. You don't move anywhere. So you have a counter at the later phase of the game. Still a pretty solid laner. He's got a lot of damage to build up early, and he's got the distance. So I think Nouns is a pretty solid draft. They could work it out, but it's the 15-minute marker. When those shards are kicking in for most of these heroes, 15 minutes is really going to define who's going to be taking this game.
Dean of Dota, tell me about Bait. How do they win this game? What do they need to do? What should they prioritize in order to ensure we go to game 3?
Believe in Dindy hooks. That's all you gotta do. You just gotta believe in the Dindy hooks, and we're going to game 3.
All right. Believe in the Dindy hooks. Believe in the Dindy Pudge. Many, many, many years have gone by since I've seen this actually work and seen it be successful. However, if it were to ever come out in a must-win game, it would be now. So let's find out if Dindy can channel his younger self to win out this game number 2. And to find out, we will be throwing it over to our wonderful casting pair of the Merciless Mike and the little bit of a janky John. Take it away, boys.
Thank you very much, there. It is definitely Merciless Mike and Janky John. Jonathan, we've got Dindy Pudge. You asked for it in game 1. Here it is. The man has picked his signature hero. Is it good enough to pull off this game to victory?
It's not the simplest game for Pudge from mid. I feel like the Gunner matchup is pretty decent. Once you hit level 3, that's a really good point to start doubling down on the Static Remnant. The Overload charges is pretty easy on a melee hero to kind of bully out. So it's not the easiest time for Bait. I think the key thing is just going to be whether or not they get their combinations off, right? You go for the Grimstroke, for the double rupture, double lift back. You've got a lot going in that Wombo combo, but we've seen from Bait before that they tend to play a bit of a slower game in the early to mid game, so that can't really maintain here. They've got to take early activity and just kind of try to run down while Nouns tries to build into that late game. You've got the Storm. You've got the Nature's Prophet. These heroes do kind of enjoy scaling into late here more than anything else.
Yeah, I think, especially against Mu, right? Like that Timbersaw versus Pudge matchup later on, it just really sucks for the Pudge. Like that Whirling Death it destroys Pudge. He's not a happy boy going up against the Timber, that's for sure. Let's see how it pans out, though. This is Dindy Pudge. You can't doubt the man on this hero. So we know he'll probably land the hooks. It's just a question of whether he can win the game. You know, I hate to say it, John, but this Pos 1 Bloodseeker, I always talk about it. I'm not going to say the word, but you know what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's had a rough run. It's had a very rough run. I think this game, it's decent. Again, you've got the Grimstroke combo. We've seen this a couple of times before in previous DPC tours. Double Rupture can be strong with a lift back. You've got a little damage coming in, so you can get aggressive.
Absolutely. Hook is there. They've got Husky, so that's a great way to get started. Stroke of Fate will slow him down. Husky forced to go for the level 1 leap. Does save the skill point just in case he ends up in that scenario. Mind you, he does get the bounty. So it's a 3-for-1 trade on the bounty runes. But you've got level 1 leap. Now on Husky, he's got no HP. He doesn't bother going back to the fountain. Looks like he's going to wait for his courier to come out instead with a set of tangos. So won't go for the immediate reset back at the base.
Now give some solo EXP to Mu. This is something that they could try to bully out here on the side of Bait, but Mu has the right idea. Just staying in the tree line, not going to allow any sort of big stacks from the Stroke of Fate on the creep wave, and just kind of soak EXP, get some farm where he can, until Husky does kind of hit that point where he can soak and have some impact on his 2. Can take a little bit of time, has to get the pull off. So it's just going to drag back and play a little greedy. Does manage to snipe a courier at least, and dodges another Stroke of Fate. That wind up on the spell, just really annoying up against these mobile heroes.
Absolutely. At the very least, he did lose the range creep. So you didn't get the range creep with you as Husky. Seems like Mu will take care of the range creep anyway, so not too big of a deal. Meanwhile, bottom lane, another pull coming off here. Mu's trying to make life as easy as humanly possible for Funnick. Very, very annoying lane for Funnick to have to go up against as well. The Nature's Prophet, never fun to have to lane against. So they'll just continue pulling as much as they can until Funnick reaches a point where he can actually contest the lane properly with Swashbuckle. Still, though, that should mean Yamsun's in for a pretty free laning stage, at least for now.
Yeah, it's not going to be contested too hard. has the Blightstone, so he can kind of right-click fairly well and just melt through when you do overcommit. Hard to get a good stack of Shield Crash here because of the range difference as well. And if Yamsen does get off to a running start, well, he's going to be all over the map. He just needs the Midas and Maelstrom. Farming ramps up, has some good impact in early rotations. The one lane looking really good here for Bait is Dendy's lane down mid. He's holding his own quite nicely. Gunnar does hit level 3, so he does have the double overload play if you wanted to get that done. But not really opting to. And Dendy's just playing around with a hook, getting some farm.
Oh,
and just
bot lane.
boom.
Yamsun, that's a great kill. Funnick, he'll be very happy with that. Lift back from Moose proving to be more than enough, and Funnick, he'll get the job done. Yamsun, I said he was in for a good lane, but they punish him very early.
Yeah, if you do overstep and once you do have the value points up for Funnick, the damage can come flying in. This is one thing with a Riki. It doesn't really do much for you defensively. It just wants to play aggressively as a support, and Nature's Prophet isn't the most aggressive in lane. It does feel like it needs more of a setup to kind of get that going, so Lelis can't do as much as he'd want, and that does give a little bit of room to play here, as Bait does have setup and play with.
Pudge, mid lane, Dendy. Keeping up very effectively here against Gunnar. 16 and 6 in terms of CS score for both these guys. It's a very even kind of mid lane. No runes for Dendy to pick up though, which is a bit unfortunate, but it looks like he might go for the bounty on the Radiant side. Could rotate down to the bottom lane after that. Mind you, he is only level 4, but you only need a decent hook to get it done. It looks like he'll just return back to the mid lane. Bit of farm on the neutral creep as well while he's at it.
Yep, just trying to be efficient on that Pudge. Pudge does shine when you can just kind of focus in on farming. There's one aspect of the hero that does feel relatively broken, and that's considering why it has risen into that core role. It does seem like, you know, if you're Bait, you will want to play around Dendy. Like the threat of Hawk, the threat of Dismember down the line, you have to be able to kind of use that and apply the pressure, enable some space for Stonebank to appear, and allow that build-up that you'd want on the Bloodseeker to get his initial itemization.
Lodine, gonna go for the Inkswell. It will land on Gunnar, but he kind of just takes it. Doesn't really matter too much. The arrow was there to follow up. Husky, he does get hooked though. In fact, he even took the kill off Gunnar. It's a little bit annoying there for Gunnar, but nevertheless, Husky, he'll find Lodine's courier to boot. Just no sign of Lodine left. They took everything.
Yeah, just erased him from the map. Pretty good kill to find, not the biggest in the world, but again, you're applying some good pressure on Dendy. You're ensuring that his support rotations are more defensive than anything else. Again, you want to play pretty offensively here.
Stroke of Fate's going to connect. Gunnar, pretty big trouble. Does go for a Vortex out, but with the Inkswell, Dendy able to secure the kill. In fact, Lodine's the one to take it. So either or not, the supports are just taking all the kills here in this mid lane. But you'll be very happy seeing that Storm Spirit die.
Yeah, it's the big one. It's the one here you want to keep down. It's going to be really hard to pin him down once he does hit level 6. You're going to have to hope for pretty good timing on the Phantom's Embrace here from Lodine. Does a good job of blocking out the stacks Husky's trying to build up. So he's kind of being really disruptive. And once again, we're finding Bait with a very solid laning start. They're managing to get themselves all over the map. Moose is in a very interesting position here in the jungle.
That he is. Things are out. Moose seems like he wants to try and kill off Gunnar again. I mean, why the hell not? Gunnar did just commit his TP, but the question is, can you get heroes there to save him? For now, Moose is just soaking XP off Gunnar, trying to delay that level 6 timing as much as possible. Vision down, but again, Gunnar is under vision. So they know exactly where he's placed that ward, and here comes the cavalry. Dendy hits level 6. He would love the Storm Spirit kill once again. Gunnar backing off. He has the vision of the punch. Problem is Moose gonna set up perfectly. That is a really clever play from Moose. Even the D-Ward to come out straight after. But you've got to respect the positioning from our Ruby.
Yeah, then that's exactly what Bait needs to do. Find ways to make plays with Dendy, make use of that hook, get aggressive with that Pudge, and just allow Dendy to shine. You know, it's his hero. He knows the ins and outs. Just kind of get some setup for him and allow him to create that space for everyone else. Get the action on him, allow Stonebank some room to breed, allow Funnick that build up to be durable and just able to roll around the middle of these fights. Slowing down the Storm is pretty massive too. Like, this hero doesn't feel great when it's off to a slow start. You have this really big spike when you hit 6, but you kind of need items to play off the back of it. And we are seeing Gunnar trying to work into that Soul Ring. Should have a little bit more to play with that up. At least with the Power Treads, you have a little bit more mana as well. But the 6 is still eluding him. He's just been shoved out, like from that jungle into that death. I mean, he needs that 6 to really survive now.
Mer, ruptured up now on that Timber. He has a TP away if he wants it. Dendy's around the corner though, so he doesn't really have much of an option now. Mer just gonna die. Dendy able to pick up his second kill of the game on the Pudge, and that's happy days so far for Bait. It's 1-4. Very slight net worth lead their way, but they've certainly been quite aggressive this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good sign, right? Like the panel talked about it, coordination is key for Bait. They've been moving as a unit really well. They've been playing off the back of Dendy, and that's what you want. Just keep applying that pressure, keep playing as a unit, keep going for these ganks, build up the stacks on Dendy, force Nouns to be in an uncomfy position. And for Nouns, their lineup just doesn't respond well. You have a Ricky support with Mirana. These two can't really play with each other. They need to rely on at least one hold.
Yeah, he tries to sprout himself, but the Rolling Thunder obviously just going to go right through it. We'll try to run the old-fashioned way. Funnick, one more should do the trick with a swashbuck. Oh, boy. Well, that's a bit rough. It won't matter. They'll still find the kill. Funnick will have a laugh to himself about it. He was trying to be efficient and hit both heroes. Fair enough. Regardless, the Nature's Prophet is down. Dendy, he was trying to go for this Mirana, but ends up just taking a D-Ward instead. And so with that, again, Bait certainly off to a fantastic start.
Yeah, they've built up a good lead for themselves, 5-1. Net worth not quite up there. You are finding a lot of farm still coming out for Yamsen.
Oh, nice hook here. Lift setup was out. Dismember there. Dendy able to pick up his third kill now of the game. Question is, can he survive? Answer is certainly not. Not with that TP at least. But he will die. Funny. Gonna move in with an Inkswell. This could be a massive team fight. He's caught 2 of them with the stun. Yamsen's trying for the TP play out. Oh, he's not gonna make it. Very close. Still very far. Stonebank on the chase. Won't hit the blood right. That'll mean Gunnar, while he's still on the run, is going to be able to get out just fine. Does have the Soul Ring up for that added mana regen if he needs it. Rather that burst of mana. But 3-7 now. Still a very slight net worth lead the way of Nouns. Bait, if they can keep up the aggression, maybe find Yamsen another couple times, you sit him quite pretty.
Yeah, it would be big once they find a couple of kills. Really good reset on Gunnar as well. They shove a couple of mangoes, get the bottle topped up with Moo coming in. So you are actually ready to go once more, and they're hanging around with Husky looking for something.
They want Funny. And you hit the arrow though. Swashbuckle's going to be there. Timing not really on point. It is a level 1 Vortex, so you only have 1.4 seconds of stun. Very hard for Husky to hit the arrow.
Yeah, it's much harder than you'd want it to be. Smoke out from Nouns, but smoke out from Bait as well. Dendy might be able to catch something big here. Yamsen's right there.
Undervision again. Nobody's found that ward. Hook will connect, and with that, the Inkswell combination makes it too easy for Dendy. No punishment to come. In fact, Gunner's the one that's trying to run right now. Stonebank's on the chase, trying to look for a rupture attempt. But Gunner's going to be okay. Still, that deep observer ward that was placed by Moose earlier, really haunting the side of Nouns.
Yeah, so much value coming out. And he planted that when he was level 3, making that rotation on mid. He's just been on point. They've been playing around what they need to do with Dendy over and over again. It's just that one big point. They know how to play around this Pudge. They've enabled that Pudge massively on mid. And now you're just playing with a draft that needs so much farm.
Lift up, rupture there. Gunner somehow avoids the Blood Rite silence. And he's going to be okay to just zip out with the rupture. He'll take no damage from that. Man, that was a split second off connecting. That would have been a dead storm.
Yeah, he has no TP. If they just managed to keep him down, would have been a nice, easy pick-off coming out from Bait. But now it's just avoiding Gunner. Gonna feel pretty happy. And again, they're just trying to enable this greedier draft. Yamsen already has the Midas, so he can just sit comfy and farm. Moo, he's got some durability with a cloak, but needs that full hood of the Defiance to really start going. And it's just these slower timings from Nouns that Bait are using against him really well. Shoving in bot just a bit, not fully committing for the push. They are getting really good build-up on Stonebank. He's going to have a Maelstrom relatively soon. And then his farm is just going to skyrocket. No one else really needs as much jungle space as the Bloodseeker here. especially with Dendi rushing the Blink Dagger instead of something like the Ags. So he is looking for that early activity, looking to play with the Inkswell Blink combo and just, again, pick off some of these sneakier heroes. If you can blink onto Gunner, he's pretty much a dead hero. He's not going to have Lincolns for a very long time.
Top lane, Lelis. Lift up. Easy setup for Dendi, but he's not quite there. This wasn't close enough for the hook attempt. He was just a tiny bit too early there with the lift. And with that, he'll rotate back mid instead, where he's found an arcane rune, but it's stolen by Dendi. Moo wanted to take it so bad, but Dendi just hooks it away. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Husky's being chased down by Funnick. Leap charges, that was the last one. Funnick on the chase. Eventually we'll find the Mirana. And that should be another. Meanwhile, Moo does find Lowdyne and Gunner. He's going to try and punish this Pangolier, swashbuckle away from Funnick, and they just don't have the damage or the lockdown.
It's just not enough. You need that play follow-through coming from Husky. If you don't have Husky, you can't keep anyone down. Like, you've got to have this longer duration stun. Once you have the shard on Lelis, that could simplify it. Get the smoke screen on top, have that combination on hand. There should be a window where you can just melt these heroes. But it's still a few minutes away. 2 minutes more while this Riki just feels like it doesn't have impact.
Bait. Another smoke up. Lelis going to avoid the smoke for now, but they're going to find a much bigger target. They want Gunner. No survival here for the Storm. Moves easily again, setting up the lift. Lowdyne somehow finding the kill another time. And Bait, they'll see if they can pressure this mid-tier 1 tower. Stonebank will be around. He'll take care of it. I don't know how you defend this. You really can't without your Storm, and even then it's quite difficult. Gunner's very far behind the Storm Spirit at the moment. Yamsun, he has no interest in getting involved.
Nah, just wants to farm. That's what most Nature's Prophets want to do. They'll only join in when they're set up. They'll only join in to add some damage if they see an opportunity. No opportunity presents itself on Nouns. That's just the big difference with this draft. Nouns don't really have the initiative outside of an arrow combination. And they could try to run around with Moo, but if there's no one to keep Funnick down, if there's no one to just lock in Dendi and prevent him from casting his spells, then you don't really have a way of killing off these heroes. You've got the full mech up now as well in Funnick, super durable on that Pangolier. You're going to be able to gun down that bot tier 1. And with the mid tier 1 gone, the bot jungle just opens up massively for Bait. Like, that's going to cut off a good area to farm in for Yamsun. They need to take care of the top tier 1 for Nouns, and the top tier 1's still really healthy. And Yamsun will slowly start to chip away with it, but while that tower stands, it's just difficult to invade that jungle.
Husky being chased down. Silence will connect there from Lowdyne, but he's on the cliff and it makes it rather hard to catch him. They don't have the hook available from Dendi. Even taunting them on the high ground there for a moment. It's 4-10. They've got the kill lead on the side of Bait, but the net worth has just remained so even here. Props to Stonebank on this Bloodseeker, really doing a great job of keeping up with Yamsun on the Nature's Prophet. Feels like the Bloodseeker should be maybe a little bit more behind, but he's done just a great job of keeping up in that net worth board. Yamsun obviously dying a couple times earlier on, which probably slowed him down. And there's a smoke up again from Nouns. A two-man smoke here on the Riki and Mirana.
And they've got the shard on Lelis, so setup becomes a lot easier. And this is that window we were looking for activity from the supports. If they can start to make opportunities for Moo or Gunner to jump on top, they can find themselves some kills.
Well, Lelis is going to find nobody so far, but they will know that somebody's going to be hanging around that dire triangle. Scan is out. That'll give all the information they need. Bait immediately back off. Not even a second after that scan happens, they get the hell out of there. And so far, nothing will really come out of the shots for Lelis. I suppose at the very least they know the dire triangle's vacant at the moment if they wanted to take it. And it seems like they just may.
Yeah, they drag Moo up, allow him to get building. He is working onto his Ult, so a way of removing some of the silences on hand at the very least.
Mid lane, they committed quite a bit onto an illusion. Dendi dismembering, Funny committing the Rolling Thunder, all onto a Moo illusion, and the just ends up I mean, they really showed that illusion, let me tell you, John. It got
Yeah.
down real quick.
We saw that last game as well, right? With a little doom on the illusion, just to send a message.
Yeah. Gunner, bot lane, he'd be a great pick-off. You land that up. In fact, he doesn't even need to land a hook. He's got the blink up. Gunner, quick reactions though, is going to be just fine to back off. And now the rotation's down bot. Lelis, he wants to put this shards to use. Sleeping Dart is there. They've got Dendi into the arrow. He is just such a sitting duck. And Moo finally has his way with this pudge. In fact, Funnick gonna TP down. Gunner's very low on mana. Just a bit of a warning shot there with the Vortex as Funnick is gonna keep moving in. He doesn't have Rolling Thunder though. So Moo is happily gonna take the fight. Moose, he doesn't know what's going on right now.
Oh, yeah. That's the timing. That's the timing for now. It's playing with that Sleeping Dart. Even the small things, like you see the TP come in, you drop the smoke screen, it didn't give too much room for Funnick to react, and it just opened up those opportunities for Nouns. They just needed one way to set up without risking Gunner, and they find it. And now it's where it gets a little bit shaky for Bait. Like, going for the blink on Pudge does mean, you know, you don't have that scaling damage, you don't have that massive output with Rot. You're not going to just melt heroes, you're going to need to coordinate, keep that coordination up. And then he's just not having luck with the region, unfortunately, here.
No, Gunner's got it, and that's a perfect rune here for the Storm Spirit, as they might just dive in for the fight. Lelis, he does actually survive just a little bit longer. In fact, he's still alive.
Jeez.
Oh, they don't kill Lelis. He'll barely survive through it. Dendi's the one to drop. And now Gunner, he'll pop the region so they can just keep going. They don't have the heroes mid lane to really force the fight, but Gunner's just going to go in by himself. Inkswell will be out. That'll cancel the regen. That'll put an end to that. But they do force a BKB charge out of Stonebank.
Yeah, that's big. It's the first BKB charge for Stonebank. It's not going to be comfy. Gunner probably doesn't mind too much. I mean, he's got the Arcane Ring anyway. He's getting topped up. So he's still got some mana to play with, at least if he does get jumped in. The one thing for Nouns is you are really pulling ahead now on Yamsen. That mobility that NP has, the Midas being picked up really early in for Yamsen, just finally paying off.
Getting the Ricky Marana experience. No chance of survival through that. It's just such an easy combo once you hit that level 15 mark. I can tell Lelis is having a very fun time at the moment.
Yeah. It only took 15 minutes, but once it's up, you know, you just run around, you find the kills, you get going, and well, it's just tough. You don't have any saving supports on hand, so the combination's always just going to work, and it works from a mile away with Marana and Timbersaw.
Moose might be the next target. There's your Sleeping Dart. They don't have the arrow to follow up this time, but with Moo around, they don't really need it. They just don't need it. The Timbersaw provides so much damage. And line drawn into the mid lane. They want to go for more. They know Dendi and Lodine are around the corner. Smoke, so they can't see them underneath that vision. Moo will take care of it. Hook is there onto a Treant. And in we go. Gunner, he'll get in with the Vortex. They do silence him up for a moment. Inkswell won't land though. Still, the team fight completely breaks out. Moo in the middle of all this. Gunner, he does end up dropping, and Yamsun forced the TP away. A complete mess of a team fight.
Yeah, they get a bit trigger happy on Nouns. Maybe just diving in, not respecting that counter control out from Bait. They lose Gunner. At the least, Yamsun wasn't under threat. You know, he popped his BKB, backed off. Again, not the best feeling to not find kills with that BKB use. Bait.
Yeah, Lelis. They want to punish this Ricky, and they will get him. Bait really handing it back the way of Nouns now. 2 down. See how much more they can punish Moose. He's got the chains up now, but no backup there for Husky. Husky able to just kind of walk out of that one. That Nouns. 10 to 12. Still a 5k advantage their way, but certainly going to be cautious not to overextend. I mean, Bait still have what it takes to push this game back their way. And I mean, you look back at this Bloodseeker, Stonebank is pretty big.
Yeah, he is. He's working into that Basher next, so you can't just TP out in his face. That's going to be massively helpful, of course, in locking in Yamsun, as he has been playing really forward when he does join in. The side of Nouns, once this BKB is up and Gunner, you fix a lot of issues. That will force Dendi to kind of just try to gobble you down with the Dismember. It takes away the threat of Lodine's Grimstroke, so you don't have as much to worry about. And a smoke out from Bait. They know they're still pretty strong right now.
They are. See what they can punish. Bait. Move through that mid-river. They've got a blink up on Funnick now as well, so a bit easier for him to initiate, but it is on the courier, to be fair. He needs a bit of time for that one. Mu, frontlining. Going to see the Arcane. Bloodright and Rupture are both there. Just holding down the Timber, and he just can't survive through it. Nice pick off for Bait. Problem is, Funnick's courier goes down, so he loses that blink.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes where you don't have to worry about Funnick just blinking on top of you. They start the Roche off the back of that. Mu is a huge amount for their AoE. So this should be a nice little pickup for them, but you do have a couple of sneaky plays here if you are Bait, if you are Nouns.
I mean, Arrow's going to give a bit of vision on Roshan. Gunnar, he's going to be the main one to try and steal this Roshan away. Roshan dropping extremely low. In guns Husky. Stonebank, he's got the Aegis. Husky just gets completely annihilated by Dendi in the middle of all that. Lelis even giving him the wall played.
They tried, you know, they got the Roshan gold. At least they got the kill.
There you go.
So, you know, it's a little bit of gold going your way. Not the biggest deal in the world. Bait more than happy to just have that secondary life up on Stonebank. They've got a massive window to take more off the map here. And the side of Nouns, they are still kind of playing the slower game. Just split pushing, trying to get build up on Yamsen, trying to get that build up on Gunner. These heroes do take a fair bit of time to really feel comfy in a game. But if you allow Bait to keep finding these engagements, like this BKB timing of Dendi is also fairly deadly. You have no Pierce until you hit level 20 on Yamsen, which you can only really sprout leash one hero.
Of course, good time to bring up our odds as well from our betting partners, esportsbets.io. I believe that the favorites were Nouns, 1.17 to 4.36 here in the favor of Nouns. But again, Bait kind of proving the odds wrong, at least for now. I mean, Bait's been one of those teams where they're usually pretty good in the first half of the game. It's usually the second half where things start to go a little bit awry. Let's see if they can keep this performance up, though, for Game 2. Lelis has been caught out. Dendi immediately out with the dust. Another nice pick off here for Bait.
Yeah, just the support Ricky kill. You don't mind him copying the gank there. If you are Nouns, you just kind of want to protect Gunner, want to protect Yamsen, and allow Mu to kind of just take some space elsewhere and be up front. So you're happy enough. For Bait, a kill's a kill. It's another flush heap stack coming out for Dendi. Tankier and tankier as this game goes on.
Husky, leap away. Dismember is available. Dendi trying to blink forward. Doesn't throw out the Hawk. Instead, Gunner in the backside has found out Lowdiner with the BKB. He's feeling rather safe. Still, Stonebank's going to move in. In goes Gunner again. Onto moves, onto the high ground. Meanwhile, Dendi, he's been caught out. Stonebank trying to run, but he is very, very slow right now. There is no way he gets out of this. Someone just needs to hit him once. Lelis will be there. Sleep him up. And Moose will take the Aegis away. Can they get him a second time? Arrow, oh, it's a little bit early. Stonebank will be able to BKB TP out, or rather just walk out, I say. Moose TP's out himself in the Rubik. But they seem to want more here now, looking for the punishment.
Yeah. Not going to be able to find it. We'll at least find that mid-tier 1. The side of Bait, I mean, they just get disrupted. They get kited around really badly by Husky. Dendi not able to get the immediate dismember and follow through. Even if you did dismember, taking out the Mirana with that single target spell that you would want to save for Gunner, it feels really risky. Because you kind of want, we want to keep that Storm down with BKB now. Like, he has to be your priority. He has to be your key dismember target if you somehow jump on top of him. And that's easier said than done. Mu, really tanky now with a full Lotus Orb up.
Dendi. See Husky, but again, just not feeling confident to try and move in with the Dismember. You kind of want to reserve that for the Storm if you can. We thought Husky had his team right behind him. Meanwhile, Yamson's been free farming this whole time. Going for a Lincoln Sphere up next, so just full defense here on the Nature's Prophet. That's the thing with the Lincoln's BKB up. You really haven't got the greatest ways of killing him.
No. Like you rely on popping the Lincolns with one of your other spell immunity piercing spells. So you rupture and dismember onto one. It'll allow so much room for Moo. It'll allow so much room for Gunner. You really don't want to risk it that way. Oh.
Speaking of moves, gets slept, but no follow-up to it. The creep wave going to be in the way, so Husky can't do too much.
Yeah, nice little quick force staff to get out of range as well. So just having the reflexes to get out there in the nick of time.
Stonebank, they are still watching the Bloodseeker, but he's got his whole team behind him. That 12 to 15, 9k advantage. Both teams still playing very cautiously. You know, I do believe Nouns, considering the start that Gunners had, they are really relying on Yamsun to carry them through this one. And Yamsun for now, I mean, still farming, still got plenty of room to grow on the profit. It's a slow process for sure, but he's almost got enough. Oh, he's basically got enough for the Orchid now.
Yeah, can just buy out. You say slow process, Yamsun is at least almost 6k above Stonebank. It's been really great free farm. It's progressing a lot faster than I think Bait would want. They haven't been able to control Yamsun. They haven't been able to punish him. They have been stopping the split push. Yamsun hasn't really taken too many objectives off the map. So that is a little bit of space out.
Dendi. Mid lane. Not going to get jumped on here. Nouns not willing to show their position. Bait, they're grouping up, so perhaps a smoke to come out here, but seems like they will just kind of do it the old-fashioned way and walk towards Nouns. And either side seem very comfortable starting a team fight here. Like it's one of those things where both teams want to fight, but each team wants the other team to start the fight.
Yeah.
Fall into their own trap, it seems, as now Lelis, sleeping dart out. They know there's a ward on the high ground. Still, they've got the Rubik trapped up. Gunner's just going to move in with his BKB, and that's one down. Onto Funnick he goes. That's going to be another perhaps, so Funnick will swashbuckle away. Where's the follow-up? Not there yet. There's a double rupture, though, from Stonebank, but can he actually move into this? Yamsun, he'll just stand there and man-fight. Dendi, he does get a dismember off, but it's cancelled immediately. Husky was ready with the arrow. Yamsun can get right to work. As Stonebank ran up quite confidently to that Nature's Prophet. And I was like, man, you're not doing any damage. Get out of there.
No, he certainly wasn't. And just didn't manage to melt through Yamsun. And just all those small plays. They managed to dodge out Wood Gunner. The double rupture just doesn't really stop Gunner. He just re-engages right after that rupture fades. And they're not able to follow up on one target. Like, as the panel pointed out earlier on there, Mike, Bait has to play as a coordinated unit. They have to be able to jump in, burst one of these heroes down. In particular, Gunner, they need to pour all the resources into just stopping him in the middle of these fights. Otherwise, he just runs around.
I mean, it's on the replay now. Like, Yamsun literally took no damage. He's just sitting there tanking all the right clicks from the Bloodseeker. The thing is, the Bloodseeker's gone Gleipnir Basher, right? So it's like, okay, the Basher goes through BKB, but the Gleipnir is doing no magic damage through the BKB to Yamsun. So he's just taking nothing.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, your lineup's just so magic-based right now outside of Bloodseeker. You are relying on Rot, you're relying on Roll. I mean, the Inkswell, the Stroke of Fate, fairly decent damage. Just the spell immunity up front puts a lot of pressure on Stonebank, and it's just not enough. With a Shard coming through here with a Blood Rage, with that scaling percent-based damage, it's going to feel a lot better for him. And that shouldn't be too far off, at least. So the timing for Stonebank to have a little bit more in those bigger fights, to have some scaling damage up against Moo, it's set to come eventually. You do have the full Kaya and Sanj up now in Gunner, and he's working onto the Ags. That's a lot more AoE control that Nouns does lack once that's up and running.
Here we go. 4-man smoke. Moo, the only one not smoked up here on the Timber. He won't mind it, though. He wants to be the bait for the team. Bait hanging around that dire jungle right now. Maybe not so confident in a team fight. Like, they're 16k behind, and after that last engagement, I'm not sure about this. They're going to smoke up, but they need a great way of dealing with Yamsun. Like, this dismember is so important if it can't remain on the Nature's Prophet, you are in such dire straits. Husky, somehow not going to get stunned up, taking the outpost. Will move away himself. In comes Yansan with the BKB. Dendi's going to try and go for Dismember, but ends up backing off. It seems like they might just be happy. Lotus Orb was there anyway. Meanwhile, Gunner gonna move in. They're Dismember out. They've got the Storm Spirit, but he's gonna BKB, so he's fine through it. There's just not enough damage output. Gunner still zipping away. Sprout out, holding down the Bloodseeker. Into the Nullify now, Stonebank. He does at least find Husky, but needs to get out of there. Meanwhile, Moose does end up dying on the Rubik. In goes Dendi, about to drop it, does get the TP away. Stonebank, though, gets left behind again. He is down with that buyback. Funnick drops as well. Lowdine's not safe either. Moose buys back on the Rubik, but there's nobody left to help.
Nah. And the one fortunate thing for Bait, Roshan is down. So Nouns can just kind of capitalize on that, try to go for high ground off the back of the Aegis. A couple of back and forth things there. The fresh Kaya Sanj for Gunner saved him massively from that Dismember. It just doesn't last this long with a status resist up. And for Dendi, it was a really quick Lotus usage onto Yamsen that just disrupted that jump in. Like, just really good saves ready on hand from the side of Nouns. And now they just go high ground even without the Aegis. They're not going to fully commit. Respawns are short. Would want the Aegis up and running first. So they play it safe. But now you're in a very winning position if you're Nouns. 19k up. You've got the full Daedalus up and running on Yamsen. So he does a ton of damage.
Yeah.
When he is just focusing in. He's not even queuing up the Lincolns. He's not even worried about any of these single target dispels anymore.
Just doesn't need it. You saw Dendi, like, the thing is they've got the Lotus Orb up now, so Dendi can't actually dismember him anymore. As long as they place the Lotus on from Mu, it's like, well, it's immediately cancelled off. He's fine. That's all you gotta do. Just keep lotusing up the Prophet. Here we go again. Mid lane, Funnick. Being watched. Oh, the whole crew is just grouped up at the moment. Nouns. They're gonna see Funnick. Warding placed. Sleeping Dart out. They'll hold down the Pango. There's your Lotus Orb as well. Nouns not making the jump in yet. There'll be a 5-man smoke from Bait. They'll try to wrap around the long way. Roshan has spawned up, so it's an important team fight for both sides. Gunner does get spotted, but has a haste rune, so he's easily able to back out. Meanwhile, top side, there's the Rat. Tier 3 tower under siege. Smoke on smoke scenario once again. Who jumps first? Oh, Dendi's on the front line. Smoke broken. They'd love the storm, but again, he zips out. Keep in mind, Gunner does have a regen room bottled up, so this could be a disastrous fight for Bait if they're not careful. Funnick, he's going to roll in with the Inkswell. It will not connect. Still chasing down Mu, but he'll just chain away. And now without the Rolling Thunder, you might be able to just force Roshaners now.
Yeah, you can. It's not the easiest fight for Bait to just run up now. There's Rosh number 2 with a free shard. A lot on the line.
I mean, he's confident, John, that they haven't got Rolling Thunder. They want to fight. Nouns wants to go right now, and in they go. That's a lot of damage to get started. Who's first? It's going to be Lowdine. Dendi's trying to fight. Moose, in the meantime, is just getting destroyed here. But hold on a minute. They've got the Prophet locked down, but he's in his own Sprout. Yamsun, he'll keep going after Dendi. The bashes, though, from the Bloodseeker, proving to be very, very annoying. But here comes Gunner to save the day. They'll lock down the Bloodseeker.
Ooh.
It's a team wipe.
You gotta appreciate that smokescreen mischance.
It hurts.
Yamsen, I mean, he can just stand there. He doesn't care. Sure, you're on top of him, but the miss is there. The BKB is off. You can't do much. They go into the Roshan now in the big fight that Nouns wants to take into that objective. They can start sieging high ground fully. Satanic for Yamsen, not too far off. Now you've got the security of a secondary life here as well.
You gotta
Everything you could ask
appreciate.
for.
I know you brought up the smoke screen there for a moment, John. I just realized it's 100% uptime.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, that's just with a quickening charm.
That's revolting.
It is. Well, you have a 0.3 second downtime, right? So
Ah, but yeah,
there's a 0.3 window
Very
for you to
balanced.
try to bash and then hope for the best
You
afterwards.
have to be so high skilled to chain it properly.
It's a tough one. But they're stuck in a really difficult position. Their high ground defense, you can never discount Pudge. There is that, right? Like you can just get a good hook and suddenly the game is in your favor. And so you just kind of need to look for that team fight, look for these opportunities, tread the needle, and hope for the best. For Nouns, they're in control. They've got everything they could ask for, a 30k lead. They've got an additional Lotus out in Lelis. It's difficult to stop them. These BKBs have whittled down to 6 seconds on a lot of them.
Uh-oh.
So it's just not enough time. And there's that full Ags finally up for Gunner.
Yeah, on the courier. This is where things get even scarier. That AoE Vortex.
Wow, really? Telescope for Ricky?
Perfect.
That sleeping dart right across your screen?
Why not? Why the hell not? Let's see how this one pans out. Like, they've got a mini black hole now. And I say mini. It does last 3 seconds, so it is theoretically mini, but still a pretty long duration when you're all caught out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long duration for not having to channel it like Black Hole is. So
Right.
It's a very big freebie. Gunner finds the angle. I mean, then the combination's sickening. AoE Vortex into smoke screen with a Timber Saw just jumping in the middle. It's way too much damage.
Still they'll hold back. They won't go high ground yet.
He's been doing this for the past 10 minutes.
I mean, Lilith, he might have a point.
It is Defense of the Ancients, you know? Kills
Oh.
don't count, net worth doesn't count. If your Ancient still stands, you haven't lost.
True. Well, you have lost time.
You have lost time.
I mean, theoretically, we're all losers, John.
That is true. We are all losers, Mike.
We're all winners, Jonathan. We get to witness this great Dota.
That is true. Satisfying, though. I mean, it's the return of Dendy Pudge, and you know he's got 10 flesh heap stacks. He's had a decent enough run, but they need more on bait to drag it out to game 3.
Here we go. Lelis. Puts one to sleep. The Vortex. He's going to move in. It only caught one. That'll be moves to drop. He's got no buyback available. A good start here for Nouns. Rolling Thunder committed as well, so Funnick needs to get the hell out of there. Chains forward. They won't quite chain properly. Lelis will get hooked in. Gunner will go for a Vortex back onto Dendy, so he can't hold the Dismember, and Lelis is going to be just fine. Meanwhile, Yamsun just goes right after the T3 tower, and they're onto the top racks. Very, very easy so far for Nouns. They'd love their Rubik back, but it's going to be another 25 seconds. And that top racks is just going to melt. Gunner still waiting for the perfect opportunity to go for a Vortex. Hook out again from Dendy, not going to land. And Nouns, they'll just go for a second. There's no reason to back. There's your Vortex again. He's caught 3. Is there backup this time? They had the smoke screen. Slow him down. Yamsun TP's in. At least the BKBs did come out. So they'll only lose 1. And there will be a buyback from Lowdyne immediately. But Nouns, they're not really backing off. They don't really care. Another zip in. Gunner, he's got Funnick this time around. Dismember is there on Gunner. It doesn't really matter. They're going to lose Dendy. He's got buyback. He'll commit immediately. Onto the mid-racks they go once again. Hook way off the mark. There's a Rolling Thunder. But what does it actually do? Nothing at the moment. Yamsun, he's still fighting, but he's got the Aegis up for another 40 seconds. He's happy to die at the moment. Hook is there. Dendy cannot dismember though. Smokescreen is out anyway, just making it so hard. A Yamsun, does he want to die? There it is. He'll get a reset now. This is the final chance for Bait to try and pull off this victory, or at least the comeback. Dendy again, hooking in the Timbersaw. Gleipnir out, they've got Funnick. Gunner, he does get stunned by an Inksaw. It probably isn't gonna matter though. Stonebank is still trying, but Yamsun is hitting so darn hard. Funnick, he'll get back to the fountain. Nouns, back onto the Megas. They want the final lane of Barracks.
Sneaky smoke out from Bait though. Could find a good angle here and start to punish without that secondary life on Yamsun. If they find an angle.
They're gonna try. Funnick's in. Rolling Thunder up in 5 seconds. He just needs a bit more time. Stonebeck, meanwhile, getting stunned up, or rather slept up here by Lelis. They'll chase him down a little bit. He's just melting to moves. Yamson with the follow-up damage. Onto the Rolling Thunder. Funnick needs to roll the hell out. Dendy jumps in with a dismember. He finds Husky, but Yamson, they can't stand the Nature's Prophet. Everyone has to run. In goes Gunner, looking for the Vortex on Funnick. They will eventually find him. Stoneback trying to fight, is eventually going to drop. Gleipnir out onto the Grimstroke. That'll be a dieback on him as well. Funnick still running. GG is called. Nouns have got the 2-0 victory here. Bait, I mean, every series that goes by, it does look like they get a little bit better as time goes on. Still just not good enough, though, against these better teams.
Yeah, it's been a rough run for Bait this tour, right? Like, we've seen shining performances from each individual player. I think Moose and Dandy have shown